Want to know the latest in soccer? Then listen to the Golden State Media Concepts Soccer Podcast. From MLS, the World Cup, and the Premier League, we've got you covered. The latest updates, the hottest matches, and news on the league's top players. It's the Golden State Media Concepts Soccer Podcast.
David Beckham scores the goal to take England all the way to the World Cup finals.
Listen now.
Alright, and welcome to the GSMC Soccer Podcast. This episode is brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network, and as always, I am your host, Jesse Tapia. So, here's what's going on for today. First up, we'll be talking Champions League. We got a lot of games going on today and a lot of games going on tomorrow. I'll be giving my thoughts on some of the teams and all, Actually, we'll do some predictions for these matches. So we'll be doing that for the first segment. Second segment, we will be heading over to the Premier League and recapping the scores from this weekend. Third segment, we will be talking about pretty much, third and fourth segment, we'll be talking about pretty much anything else going on in the world of soccer. You got Ibra scoring his 500th goal, Ronaldo scoring twice over the weekend, Griezmann basically saying he's on the level of Ronaldo and Messi. Ramos had some comments about that. So that's basically what today's show is going to be. And I have 2 more episodes as the host for this show this week and next week. And after that, I will no longer be here. So we'll make them some fun ones. Either way, moving on to Champions League going on tonight. Today, I should say. We have Barcelona versus PSV Eindhoven. And it seems that the storyline for this match hasn't been PSV versus Barcelona, but more so Irving Lozano and his desire to eventually play for Barcelona. The winger has basically made a name for himself in Europe. I mean, he's dominated the Dutch league. Seems to score a goal every match. Has basically scored on every debut he's made, whether it be a Champions League debut, Liga MX debut, Dutch league debut, World Cup debut. The guy just scores on his debuts. And people are starting to take notice. And it seems like internationally, all across the world, people are starting to recognize his talent. And he was asked about Barcelona. He said his agent did let him know Barcelona did share their interest in bringing him on. But he said right now he's focused on winning this match for PSV and playing well. Also says this is the biggest match of his club career. And I'd agree so. I mean, he did well with Pachuca over in the Liga MX, and now is basically trying to make his mark in Europe. It seems like this will be his last season with PSV if things go the way they've been going. Given there's a point where you outgrow your club and you're too good to play at your club. And I think that's what it is here. PSV always do well to develop talent. Same with Ajax, Porto, and all that. But eventually those players end up leaving off to better clubs. And I think that's what's going to be happening with Lozano this season. And, I mean, there's been other teams that have been in the mix for Manchester United. I've seen Everton out there too. And I think, I can't remember exactly his position, but the man who brought Lozano over to PSV was working there and is now at Everton. So, I mean, there's a little connection there. Either way, I think it's too early for Lozano to come to Barcelona. I don't really see a spot for him in the starting 11, and it's going to be tough for him to get off that bench. So I'd say, I mean, you finish out this season with PSV, and then you see your options and figure out what's going on there. Even a team like Arsenal would be a solid option for him. I mean, he can easily play on the wing there. And I'd say looking at Arsenal, let me take a look at Arsenal's last few starting 11s and see what Emery has been putting out there. Because, I mean, if they've still been going with Iwobi out there, then Lozano definitely easily find his way into the starting 11. So looking at Arsenal, their last match against Newcastle, their starting 11 was, I had Lacazette, Ramsey, Aubameyang, and Ozil. It seems Ozil could be leaving after this year also. So maybe you find a spot for Lozano in there. And I think that's the case too. If he were to go to Arsenal and things work out, meaning Ozil lives and all that, then yes, I think Lozano could find a spot there. But yeah, like I said, that's been the story of the match. I don't think anyone was really expecting an upset from PSV or anything like that, but more so waiting to see what Lozano can do, maybe if he scores a goal against Barcelona and all that. This could be basically his little audition for the team if they choose to buy him once the transfer window comes. Then we got Inter versus Tottenham. I'd say these teams are pretty evenly matched right here. Inter are basically trying to make their way back to the top of Italy. They're doing it by, making it to the Champions League, obviously, and that's baby steps. But looking at it, no Ali for this one. No Lloris. It's going to be tough. But either way, looking at this game, I think I could go with Tottenham winning. I still think the squad they put out is strong. But it could just possibly be a draw. And I think that's kind of where I'm at right now, is a draw. I could easily see Inter winning this match. I could easily see Tottenham winning this match. So I guess I'll just kind of meet in the middle here and I'll go with a draw. And I didn't make a prediction for that Barca and PSV game, but I will go with Barca for the win there, obviously. So, obviously 2 great games. Those are going to be taking place at 9:55 a.m. Pacific time. Then at 12, we got Monaco versus Atletico Madrid. I feel like this is a much easier game to pick here. As good as Monaco, have been over the years, I don't think they're on the level of a Atletico Madrid, so I think I'll go with Atletico Madrid here. Then you got Dortmund versus Bruges. That's an easy pick also. I'll go with Dortmund. Dortmund have actually been playing well as of late. You got Galatasaray versus Lokomotiv Moscow. This is where it kind of gets shaky because you're not sure about these teams over in Russia and Turkey. Galatasaray always feels a decent starting 11 no matter what, so I'll go with Galatasaray in this one. Then I'd say we got the match of the day between Liverpool and PSG. Obviously right now, Liverpool are the best team in England, PSG being the best team in France. Liverpool, a team who lost in the Champions League final last year to Madrid. PSG, a team who constantly disappoints in the Champions League round of 16 or quarterfinal. I got to go with PSG here. I just think they're the much better team. Liverpool's got to deal with Neymar, Mbappe, Cavani. That's a much better front three than Salah, Firmino, and Mane. I know Liverpool fans don't want to hear it, but it's true. And I'm going to go with PSG here. I think, like I said, they're the much better team from top to bottom. And I think they're going to come out with the win. Then you got Napoli versus Red Star Belgrade. I'm going to go with Napoli. This is a fairly easy pick. I don't think anyone should second guess themselves with that one. Then you got Schalke versus FC Porto. I'm going to go with Porto on this one. They always have a decent squad. And Schalke, they've had 3 losses in their last 5 matches, so I'm not sure I'm confident going with them. So let's take a look. As for the other games going on, what do we got going on tomorrow? Tomorrow for Wednesday the 19th, we got Ajax versus Athens. I'm going to go with Ajax there. I feel like that's a fairly easy pick to make. Then you got Shakhtar versus Hoffenheim. I'll go Hoffenheim there. Bayern Munich versus Benfica. This is a game that Bayern Munich should easily take. It shouldn't be close. Manchester City versus Lyon. I'll go with City there. Then you got Madrid versus Roma. I'll go with Madrid taking the win there. Madrid have been playing well post-Ronaldo. Valencia versus Juventus. No reason why Juventus shouldn't take this match. And you got Moscow versus Victoria Plzen. I'll go with a draw there. United versus Young Boys. I'm going to go with United. I like the fact that they ended up beating Watford on the road this past weekend in the Premier League. We'll be talking about that in the next segment. But, United just has to pick it up. There's no reason for United to be as bad as they've been. You pick up wins here and there, but they should be a consistent team, okay? I get the fact that the defense isn't necessarily strong, but, you got quality on all other positions of the pitch. So there's no reason for this team to continue struggling. So we'll see if Mourinho can get it going for this team and pretty much drop the right tactics. But either way, I'm going with United. And like I said, getting back to the games going on today, PSG, Liverpool is going to be the best win of the day, at least it should be. I'm really excited for Barca versus PSV, just seeing Lozano go up against them. And then I'd say the second best match of the night is going to be Inter versus Tottenham. And Tottenham and Inter have always played solid Champions League games when they've met up with each other. And I think the lineups were put out today also. Let me see if I can find those lineups real quick for the games going on tonight. So let's see, for Barca and PSV, Barca's going with Messi, Suarez, and Dembele as the front three. Then you got Rakitic, Coutinho, and Busquets in the middle. In the back four, you got Sergio Roberto, Piqué, Titi, Alba, and then Marc-Andre ter Stegen playing keeper. For PSV, you got Steven Bergwijn, Luc de Jong, and Lozano up top as the front three. You got Hendricks, Pereiro, and Rosario in the middle, and then Angelito, Nick Mergaber, Daniel Schwab, and Denzel Dumfries in the back four, with Zoet being the keeper. Mexican international Eric Gutierrez kept on the bench after a solid performance with his first game for PSV. And as for Inter and Tottenham, Inter's going with Cardi up top, Politano, Ningol, and Perisic in the middle. The two center defensive mids behind them, you got Vecino and Brozovic. And then the back four, you got Skriniar, De Vrij. His last names are hard to pronounce. You got Miranda in the back, and then Asamoah with Handovic playing keeper. And then for Tottenham, you got Kane and Son playing, Lamela in there, Eriksen, Dyer, Dembele, and then Ben Davies, Vertonghen, Sanchez, Aurier, and Bourne playing keeper. No Alderweireld or Trippier. They left at home due to tactical reasons, according to Pochettino. So we'll see what ends up happening. Either way, just happy about the fact that the Champions League is back. So we'll wrap it up here. Next up, I will be talking EPL scores, so stay tuned and I'll be right back.
The average sedan is built with a steel frame and equipped with 6 airbags. Remember this the next time you see someone walking. Drivers, be aware. Pedestrians don't have armor. A message from the California Office of Traffic Safety. The average SUV has 2 blind spots, weighs between 4,000 and 6,000 pounds, and takes about 6 seconds to stop. Remember this the next time you're on foot. Pay attention, people. Pedestrians don't have armor. A message from the California Office of Traffic Safety.
All right, and welcome back to the GSMC Soccer Podcast. Spent that first segment talking about the Champions League games over the next 2 days. I made my picks for each. If you want to remind yourself of my picks, you can go ahead and listen back to that first segment. Either way, now we move on to the EPL, English Premier League as you know it, and we will go over each of the scores and talk about the matches that were played. So we look at it. Obviously, the match of the weekend was Liverpool versus Tottenham. This one was at Wembley. And this was one where I'd say, Liverpool didn't really have much trouble here. Looking at the starting 11s for both sides, you had Harry Kane and Lucas Moura playing. You had Eriksen in there, Dyer, Dembele, Harry Winks. And then you had Trippier, Alderweireld, Vertonghen, and Danny Rose with Warren playing the back. For Liverpool starting 11, you had Mane, Firmino, and Salah up top. Keita, Wijnaldum, Milner in the middle, and then Andrew Robertson, Van Dijk, Joe Gomez, and Alexander-Arnold in the back four with Alisson playing keeper. Coming off the bench for Tottenham were Wanyama, Son, and Eric Lamela. He got a goal late in the match. And for Liverpool, it was Joel Matip, Jordan Henderson, and Daniel Sturridge. Tottenham dominated the possession, but that doesn't really mean much. They only took 11 shots, had 3 of them on target. Liverpool, much more active on the attacking end. 17 total shots, 10 of them on target there. Stats courtesy of SofaScore. Looking at it, you had Wijnaldum scoring in the 39th minute. Halftime comes, Firmino scoring in the 54th. And then a whole bunch of time passes. Then you had Lamela scoring in the 93rd minute, 90th minute with 3 minutes added on for extra time. Not a great match by Tottenham by any means, one where they should have definitely played better. And looking at the current standings, they currently sit 6th with 9 points, 1 point behind Bournemouth, and 2 points behind Watford. So, we'll see how the rest of the season progresses. I think next week they're playing Brighton Hove Albion, so that'll be a good opportunity for them to get 3 points there. Looking at the next match, we had Arsenal versus Newcastle United. Looking at the starting 11s for this one. Joselu up top for Newcastle, Perez in the back behind him. In the middle, you had Matt Ritchie, Isaac Hayden, Niame, and then Jacob Murphy as the 4 midfielders. And then you had Yedlin, Lascelles, Fernandez, and Paul Dummett in the back, with Dubravka playing keeper. For Arsenal, you had Lacazette up top, Aubameyang up there as well, with Ramsey and Ozil in the middle, with Xhaka and Guendouzi playing. Then you had Monreal, Socrates, Mustafi, and Bellerin in the back, with Czech playing keeper. Still don't know why he's starting. Figured it should be Leno, but what do I know? Mkhitaryan came off the bench on this one, as did Danny Welbeck and Lucas Torreira. And looking at the match stats for this one, you had Arsenal dominated the match as they should have. 2 shots on target, although they took 12 shots, maintained 64% of the possession. Looking at the goals scored, you had Xhaka scoring in the 49th minute. He's had a step-up season compared to his last few years with Arsenal, which is obviously a plus. You had Ozil scoring in the 58th minute, and then you had Syrian Clark scoring in the 91st minute, but it didn't matter at that point. Game was pretty much over. So moving on from that one, you had Chelsea versus Cardiff City. Eden Hazard is on an absolute tear right now. Scored a hat-trick. Looking at the Chelsea starting 11, you had Hazard, Giroud, and Pedro up top as the front 3. Conte, Jorginho, and Kovacic in the middle. As Piliqueta, Rudiger, David Luiz, and Marcos Alonso in the back 4. With Arrizabalaga playing keeper. For Cardiff, you had Daniel Ward up top. Bobby Reed playing in behind him. The 4 midfielders were Junior Hoilett, Harry Arthur, Joe Rawls, and then Victor Camarasa, with Joe Bennett, Sol Bamba, Sean Morrison, and Bruno Luce Manga playing in the back 4, and then Neil Etheridge playing keeper there. You had Willian coming off the bench for Chelsea also. He added a goal there, and he's also been playing really well. David Zappacosta coming in for Eden Hazard, and then you had Ross Barkley coming in for an injured Mateo Kovacic. Statistics for this match, Chelsea dominated. It was never close to begin with. 76% possession, 18 total shots, 7 shots on target. This was a match where Cardiff was basically trying to sit back and hoping maybe one goes their way and they don't give up a goal, when that wasn't the case. They were up 1-0 to start the match, with Sobama scoring in the 16th minute, but then, like I said, Chelsea just took over after that. Hazard scoring in the 37th minute off of an Olivier Giroud assist. Hazard scoring in the 43rd minute. You guessed it, Olivier Giroud assist. Then you had him scoring a penalty in the 80th, and then in the 83rd minute is when Willian gets his goal. Hazard, so far this season, we've only had 5 matches so far, but has been the best player in the Premier League, and I don't think it's really close at all. Of course, you'll have fans arguing that their player has done better and all that, but from a neutral standpoint, Hazard has by far been the best player in the Premier League to start out this season. Then you had Crystal Palace playing Huddersfield Town. And I'm curious to see how many of these picks I got right. I think I called a draw for Liverpool and Tottenham. I got that one wrong. I picked Arsenal. I picked Chelsea. I picked Crystal Palace. So I'm 3-1 right now. Let's see. Crystal Palace ended up winning 1-0. Didn't maintain a lot of the possession. And Huddersfield Town had a lot of the shots. Took 15 compared to Crystal Palace's 7. But the name of the game is putting the ball in the back of the net, and if you're not able to do that, you won't win. That's exactly what happened here. You had Zaha scoring in the 38th minute off a Jordan Ayew assist, and like I said, Crystal Palace ended up taking this one 1-0. Manchester City beat Fulham, and this was never really a match to begin with. Looking at the starting 11 for City, you had Sane, Aguero, and Sterling up top as the front 3. Silva, Fernandinho, and David Silva. We had Bernardo Silva and David Silva starting in this one, playing in the middle. And then in the back 4, you had Walker, Otamendi, Laporte, and then Delp, and then Ederson playing keeper. Looking at Fulham, you had Schürrle, Mitrovic, and Vieto up top. Johansson, McDonald, and Seri in the middle. And then Ryan Sessegnon, Mawson, Odoi, and then Christie in the back 4, with Bettinelli playing keeper. You had Mahrez coming off the bench along with Gundogan and Gabriel Jesus. And looking at the stats for this game, City dominated possession, dominated the shots on target. 28 total shots, 9 shots on target. Like I said, Fulham had no chance. You had Sane scoring in the 2nd minute to start the game. Obviously not a great start for Fulham there. David Silva scoring in the 21st, and then Sterling scoring in the 47th. And match was on cruise control for City after that. Moving on from that match, you had Bournemouth beating Leicester City. I actually did well with these picks this weekend. I'm going to pat myself on the back there. I mean, Bournemouth have been a very good team since they've made it into the Premier League. Like, they're not a top 6 side or anything like that, but have done well to finish in the top 10 for the most part and be competitive when it comes to playing top teams. Not saying Leicester is a top team by any means, but you look at it. Let's see. You had Ryan Fraser starting up the scoring for Bournemouth. Also scored again in the 37th minute, which made it 2-0. Joshua King with the penalty in the 41st. Game's basically over at that point. Halftime comes, and you got Wes Morgan getting hit with the double yellow in the 69th minute. He comes on. Leicester City are down to 10 men. You got Adam Smith scoring in the 81st minute. Ryan Fraser, man of the match here with 2 goals and an assist. Like I said, with Adam Smith scoring the goal in the 81st. And then you had James Maddison scoring for Leicester with a penalty in the 88th. And then Mark Albrighton scoring in the 89th. But it was too little too late at that point. Like I said, Bournemouth win this one 4-2. And Leicester playing down 10 men for a lot of the second half. Looking at Watford and Manchester United, one of the games I was most forward to. Looking at Watford starting 11. You had Deeney and Gray up top. Will Hughes, Pereira, and then Doucouré Capui playing in the middle. In the back, you had John Matt, Cathcart, Cabasele, and then Holebes playing in the back four with Ben Foster playing keeper. As for the starting 11 for United, always curious to see what Mourinho puts out. You had Sanchez, Lukaku, and Lingard up top. The front 3, Matic, Fellaini, and Pogba in the middle. And then Young, Lindelof, Smalling, and Valencia in the back 4 with De Gea playing keeper. Coming off the bench for United was Bailly, McTominay, and Martial. No Fred in this one. Match statistics, United dominated possession. Watford did take majority of shots, took 14 compared to United's 9. Also came very close to tying the match later on, I think around the 90th or so minute. But De Gea made a nice little save off a free kick that was played into the box and headed it in towards the net. Like I said, De Gea ended up coming away with the save there. Lukaku scored in the 35th minute. You had Smalling scoring in the 38th. Andres Gray scoring for Watford in the 65th, which made it 2-1. Like I said, they came very close to scoring in the, I think it was around the 90th minute. I can't remember exactly. But either way, De Gea coming away with a great save there. Moving on from that one, you had Wolves beating Burnley. Raul Jimenez coming away with the goal here. He ended up scoring in the 61st minute. Missed an easy chance earlier on in the game, so it was good for him to get his redemption there. And then would you look at that? West Ham United coming away with the win here. Beat Everton 3-1. I was a bit surprised there. Everton took the majority of shots, took 16 compared to West Ham's 9. But again, name of the game is putting the ball in the back of the net. Everton weren't able to do that enough. You had Yarmolenko scoring in the 11th minute for West Ham, also scoring again in the 31st. Then you had Gylfi Sigurdsson scoring in the 45th minute for Everton, but Marko Arnautovic putting the game away in the 61st with a goal for West Ham there. Like I said, West Ham win that one 3-1, and then you had Southampton drawing with Brighton and Hove Albion 2-2 there with goals from Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, Danny Ings scoring, which made it 2-0, and then Shane Duffy and Glenn Murray bringing it back, which ended up saving the draw there. So that's how this weekend's matches in the Premier League went. Looking at the standings, you got Chelsea up top with 15 points, Liverpool at second with 15 points also, City in third with 13 points, Watford in fourth with 12, Bournemouth in fifth with 10, Tottenham in sixth with 9, Arsenal right behind them in seventh with 9, along with Manchester United. Tottenham dropped the last 2 games, haven't really played too well. Wolves in ninth with 8 points, Everton in 10th with 6 points. Then looking at the rest of the table, you got Leicester in 11th, Crystal Palace in 12th, Southampton in 13th, Brighton 14, Fulham 15, West Ham 16, got themselves out of that relegation zone, Cardiff in 17, and then you got Huddersfield 18, Newcastle 19, and then Burnley 20. So we'll wrap it up here. Next 2 segments, like I said, we'll be talking about anything else going on in the world of soccer, so stay tuned, and I will be right back.
The average sedan is built with a steel frame and equipped with 6 airbags. Remember this the next time you see someone walking. Drivers, be aware. Pedestrians don't have armor. A message from the California Office of Traffic Safety.
All right, and welcome back to the GSMC Soccer Podcast. So far today, we've made my predictions for the Champions League games starting today and tomorrow. In a few moments, PSV and Barcelona will be kicking off their Champions League match at 9:55 Pacific time. Second segment, we went over the Premier League scores and went over the Premier League table, and now we move on to Cristiano Ronaldo. A lot has been made about him not scoring so far with Juventus, and that took a change in their most recent match over the weekend. They ended up playing against Sassuolo and came away with the 2-1 win there. You had Ronaldo scoring in the 50th minute and also in the 65th minute, which helped give them the win there. Babakar scoring in the 91st minute, but it was a little too late for them. Looking at the lineup for Juventus, you had Ronaldo and Mandzukic up top, Dybala playing in behind him, Kadir, Can, and Matuidi playing as the midfield three, and then Cancelo, Bonucci, Benatia, and then Sandro playing as the back four with Szczesny playing keeper. You never would have thought a keeper like Szczesny would be playing for a top team like Juventus, but nonetheless, here he is. You had Costa coming off the bench into the match and ended up getting a red card. Turns out when you spit into someone's mouth, you'll get a red card doing that, so rightfully deserved there. Cuadrado came in for Alexandro, and then you had Bentancur coming in for Emre Can. No Chiellini and no Pjanic in this one. And I didn't really make too much about Ronaldo not scoring for Juventus up until this point, mainly because, we hold these top players to unreal standards, him and Messi. If they have one bad game, you'll see the opposing fans talking about how, this player is better, that guy doesn't have any more and all that. Like, it is absolutely ridiculous how high of a standard they're held to. And I guess it makes sense just given, how good these players are. I don't think I've ever seen any player as good as Ronaldo or Messi in my lifetime. Obviously, I was born in 96, so I guess these are the two best players of my generation. But, it's been absolutely ridiculous how well they've played. So I get the whole holding to Ronaldo to a high standard, but you have to be realistic in a way where you know he's not going to completely score or exactly score every single game. And you look at it, even if he doesn't score for a few games, let's not forget this is a new team for him. He's learning new tactics and all that. He's not playing in Madrid where, yes, Madrid, and even in Juventus, he is the guy that you play around. But even then, so it does take some getting used to. And as far as Juventus, we know that they're going to win the Serie A. At least that's what we expect. Looking at the current Serie A standings, you had them in first with 12 points. And then you got SPAL in second with 9. Napoli in third with 9. Sassuolo in fourth with 7. Sampdoria in fifth. Fiorentina in 6th, Genoa in 7th, Lazio in 8th, Roma in 9th, Torino in 10th, Udinese in 11th, Cagliari in 12th, Atalanta in 13th, Inter 14th. Inter have been very disappointing to start out also. Milan in 15th, who have also been equally disappointing. Empoli in 16th, Parma in 17th, and then you got Bologna in 18th, Frosinone in 19th, and then Chievo in 20th. So, yes, they're going to win the Serie A, but obviously that doesn't matter. What is important is for them to win the Champions League. This is a Champions League or bust type of season for Juventus. And again, when you bring in players like Cristiano Ronaldo, the standard isn't just high for him. The standard is also high for the team he is on. This is why Madrid, if they didn't win any trophies in a year, would fire a coach. And, even if you didn't do it the way Madrid expected, you were on the hot seat a bit there. Zidane obviously had it figured out. I believe he won 3 in a row with Madrid. I know he won at least 3. But either way, you look at it, yes, there's no excuses for Juventus at this point. And I'll continue to point back to Buffon. Imagine leaving Juventus and they end up bringing on one of the 2 best players in the world to their squad after you've been, looking for a Champions League trophy for your entire career. He's got he's got a World Cup. I don't know why I said Premier League. He's got World Cup, Serie A, pretty much everything you can name, but the Champions League trophy. And maybe he can get it with PSG. PSG seem a little bit more set on and focused as far as winning the Champions League and just more so playing solid football. But you can never really count on that squad They continue to buy top players and all, but they don't develop young talent, and it's always tough to have players integrate and work well when, it's just constantly new faces and players with egos coming in. And I'm watching this PSV and Barca games about to start. I got on my computer right now. They are really hammering home this Irving Lozano storyline. They keep panning to him on the camera. They keep panning to Messi also. It's a bit ridiculous, but match just started. Also, this is not on Fox Sports anymore. TNT Turner now has the broadcasting rights for the Champions League. And I'm curious, are they going to be showing the Champions League final on TNT? I feel like I don't know. I'm not going to say anything. Either way, yeah, Juventus have no choice but to go out and win the Champions League. Anything other than that is a failure. Even making it to the final and losing is a failure. And I'd say right now, the favorites to win the Champions League would probably be Barca number 1. I still think they're top dog in all of the world. I still think they're the best team, so I'm not going to put them number 2 or anything like that. And then I'd say it goes Juventus number 2, Real Madrid number 3. I'll go City 4, Liverpool. I'm going to go PSG 4. I'll go City 5, and then Liverpool 6. I think that's the way I have it right now. And PSG, you got to put them up there. Yes, they always come up short, but they do have the players to do it. Let me take a look at what starting 11 they've been putting out for their matches. And, you've been going with Mbappe, Neymar, and Cavani up top. There's no reason for them to struggle, like I said. I don't know what it's been. Maybe it was the manager, and he just couldn't handle managing the Champions League, talking about Emery. But looking at it now, like I said, they have exactly no excuses moving forward. They're looking at their most recent starting 11. Actually, it's a bit different. They're considering they had Champions League game coming up today, 4 days after their match against Saint Etienne on the 14th. So let me see if I can find one where they had Mbappe and all those guys up top. So we had Mbappe, Cavani, Neymar. They've been playing Di Maria a lot. Ryboy, who's been playing well. Marquinhos. You had Inzaghi, Kimpembe, Silva, Meunier, and then Areola. I'm curious to see what their lineup is going to look like tonight. I'm not sure when. That'll probably get released after I'm done recording this. But either way, yeah, PSG exactly have no excuses. They're basically like Juventus. Okay, we all know you're going to win your league. Winning the French league isn't necessarily anything to be too excited about. Not trying to disrespect or anything like that, but we all know that those teams simply just don't have the money to compete with a PSG. That's just the way it's been since PSG started getting a bunch of money funneled into that team. So great. You're looking at the standings right now you're looking at the standings currently in League 1, and of course, you have PSG up there. Who else? You had PSG with 15 points, 35 points ahead of the next second team with Marseille, who's number 2. You got Lille in number 3, Toulouse in 4, Dijon in 5, and you don't even have Monaco up until number 15th. So I'd say this is an easy year for them to win the league. And like I said, you're going to have to do well against Liverpool today, which is going to be happening at 12 o'clock Pacific time. And I could care less whether or not they win their group. My whole thing with PSG is just to make it far enough in the Champions League. I can't remember. I don't think they've ever been a team in the semifinal, at least in recent memory or in the recent years with the players they've been bringing in. They're usually a team who gets bounced in the round of 16 or the quarterfinal. And they don't really put in convincing performances either. It's not like, it's just they came up short. The other team was just much better here. No, it's just PSG came up short and they just didn't play well enough. That's the same thing last year. So, yeah, definitely Juventus and PSG are two teams with the most pressure. And I can't believe I forgot about Bayern Munich. So let me redo those rankings. You go Barcelona 1, Juventus 2, Munich 3, Madrid 4, and then that's where I have PSG 5, City 6, and then Liverpool 7. I know the Premier League fans aren't too happy about that, but that's the way it goes. And maybe you could put City in over PSG, but with PSG feeling a starting 11 where you're able to put Mbappe, Cavani, and Neymar in there, there's no excuses there. Okay? So we'll see what ends up happening. And like I said, I'm watching the PSV and Barca game right now. It's 4 minutes in. It's teams feeling each other out, kind of back and forth a bit. Barca obviously with most of the possession, and PSV sitting back defending and looking to counter there. So we'll see how this game progresses. Should be a fun one. But either way, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up here. Next segment, I will be talking about anything else going on in the world of soccer. So stay tuned, and I will be right back.
The average SUV has 2 blind spots, weighs between 4 and 6,000 pounds, and takes about 6 seconds to stop. Remember this the next time you're on foot. Pay attention, people. Pedestrians don't have armor. A message from the California Office of Traffic Safety.
All right, and welcome back to the GSMC Soccer Podcast. So far today, we've talked Champions League. Well, at least gave my thoughts, my predictions on the games coming up. Barcelona almost scored right now, and this new Champions League ball is a bit weird with the ball being primarily blue in the little octagon, whatever you want to call them, the pentagon pieces on it being white. Either way, that's besides the point. We talked about that for the first segment, recapped the Premier League scores in the second segment. Third segment, talk to Juventus and Ronaldo. And then for this fourth segment, we'll talk about anything else going on in the world of soccer. And Antoine Griezmann made some comments saying that he thinks he is on the level of Ronaldo and Messi. And confidence is a great thing to have, especially playing professional sports. Just given you're playing with the best of the best there and you lose confidence, I mean, they'll pass you up in a heartbeat. But I will say this, irrational confidence is also a thing, and that's what Griezmann has, okay? Griezmann is irrational in his comments here, and I mean, it's simply not the truth. You are not on the level of a Cristiano Ronaldo or Lionel Messi. It's just simply not the case. And Ramos called it ignorance, and that's what it is. Like I said, I'm all for a player being confident, but let's be realistic and realize that you're not. Nobody thinks of Griezmann as being on that level. Maybe Atletico Madrid fans now, since he decided to stay there instead of go to Barcelona. But either way, I mean, definitely not on the level of Ronaldo and Messi. Ronaldo and Messi have been the best at what they do for like the last decade and more. Can you say that about Griezmann? I don't think so. Okay, like I said, Griezmann's a great player. He's on that second tier. And when I say second tier, the first tier consists of Messi and Ronaldo. No one else comes close. And I feel like this happens every year. We'll have a player who you will try to prop up and put up there with Messi and Ronaldo. And I mean, it's time we stop doing that. Last year, you tried doing it with Mo Salah. Mo Salah doesn't come close to those players. And I don't understand why people just can't realize this. And it's not me being a Ronaldo fan. It's not me being a Messi fan. It's the truth. Okay? These are two of the greatest players to ever do it. And why do we keep trying to... And I never really understood it too. Soccer fans are always trying to find the next Ronaldo or Messi, trying to find someone who can dethrone them. And Messi and Ronaldo fans are always arguing about who is better and who is not. What's the point of that? I don't understand it. Honestly, if you're a fan who likes to argue Messi is better than Ronaldo or Ronaldo is better than Messi, why do you do it? What is the point? And what I mean is, you're not going to change anyone's minds. You won't, simply. Okay, so basically all you're doing is yelling at a wall, wasting your breath, just because you're defending a player who, in reality, doesn't even know you exist. Harsh to say, but it's true. Why not just accept the fact that they're two of the greatest players of our generations and move on? I don't understand why you got to compare them. And I don't understand why people get so passionate in their discussions. I mean, like I said, you're wasting your time. You're not going to change anyone's mind. Just accept this player is my favorite player, but this player is also great. I mean, it's really not that hard. And like I said, some of these fans will fight to the death over players that don't even know they exist. Again, harsh, but it's just the cold hard truth right there. And as far as Griezmann, I mean, I guess maybe we can make him the player who we argue, oh, is he on the Ronaldo level of Ronaldo or Messi? But Griezmann hasn't even been the best player other than Ronaldo or Messi this season. It's been Hazard. Hazard has been the best. I don't know why we're not talking enough about Eden Hazard too. I mean, the guy has been on an absolute tear. And now I'm going to be labeled as a Chelsea fan, huh? Since I've talked about him too many times on this show. But, I mean, I'm not. But I can have an opinion. I could also agree that, I mean, Hazard is better than Salah. Liverpool fans don't like that. But it's the truth, at least for this season. Hazard's been on a tear, and no one has really come close in the Premier League. Ooh, and PSV almost just scored right now. You just said almost scored on a counter-attack. PSV's looking good. I mean, Barca's getting their chances, but PSV is coming close. But I really thought that shot that they just took right now was going to go in, for those who are watching. Lozano did well to give a nice little pass to the left. And I can't see who exactly that was. But either way, very close. So moving on from that, I mean, do people get tired of Zlatan Ibrahimovic's ego? I mean, I don't personally, but I would understand anyone else who does. He scored his 500th goal of his career. Only other active players to do that are Ronaldo and Messi. And we don't really talk about Ibra being on that level either. I mean, I guess I know why, because Ibra's not good all around the same way that Ronaldo and Messi are. But either way, getting back to the point, I mean, he talked about his little dust up with Michael Bradley. And that's crazy. I never thought I'd say that sentence, but yeah, they got into it in one of their games. And Ibra said something along the lines of, I can't remember the exact quote, but he said something along the lines of, I have more goals than Michael Bradley has matches played, I think it was. So Michael Bradley could learn something from me. And I love those comments. I think it's hilarious. I have no problem with them. But I could understand how Ibrahimovic's ego is starting to grow thin. If anyone saw his 500th goal, I mean, it was ridiculous. It's the classic Ibra goal right there. Ball gets played into the middle of the box, and Ibra basically just does a little circle or whatever, flicks his leg out, and flicks it into the back of the net. I mean, the way he does stuff like that just so nonchalantly, easily, is ridiculous. And Barca keeps getting chances here in this match, but they keep shooting them over the bar. Like Messi just had a chance to continue doing well to get down the wing and play it into the middle of the box, but Messi shot it over the bar there. I mean, eventually Barca's going to end up getting a goal, or if they don't take care of their chances here, who knows, maybe PSV end up taking the lead. But either way, getting back to it, yeah. I mean, Ibra, I can understand why you might not like the player anymore. Like, it's me, I don't really take him seriously, and I'm not sure if he takes himself seriously. And that's a good question too. Does Ibrahimovic take himself seriously, or is he just being a genius and playing a character at this point? I mean, because it's not that hard to utter out the phrases that he says during a press conference, because you can tell he says it with a smile and a bit, kind of like he's laughing. And the media eats it up, and it's better. It's a better way to market himself too. I mean, we don't see Ibrahimovic when he goes home or anything like that. He could be completely a different player. So, I mean, maybe this whole ego thing is just a character that he's playing just for marketing reasons, and he's completely different once he reaches his house or when the cameras aren't on him. And, I mean, that's a theory, but even the players that he's played with have said, yes, the dude has a massive ego and all that. And I wonder what it's like to play with a guy like Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Is he like that, where basically I'm above the team and you guys are basically below me? Or is he a good teammate? And I don't think I've ever really seen anyone complain about Ibrahimovic or anything like that. So, who knows? But either way, I mean, his quote, as far as him scoring more goals than Michael Bradley has matches played, was absolutely hilarious. I mean, there's nothing better than that. And, PSV come close again. It's going to be a nice little match here where Barca's not going to win 4-0 or anything like that. It might be like a 2-1 win or something along the lines of that. But PSV seem like they will end up getting a goal in this game. So we're going to go ahead and wrap the show up here for today. Today we talked, first segment we talked Champions League. Right now we got PSV and Barca playing. And later on we got PSG versus Liverpool, which should be a fun game. Second segment I did a recap for the EPL scores over the weekend. Third segment, we talked Juventus, Ronaldo, and the pressure that they have on them to win the Champions League this season. And then for this fourth segment, talked about Griezmann saying he's on the level of Ronaldo and Messi, which isn't the case at all, not even close. Ramos was right to say he's ignorant there and all that. And then we also talked about Zlatan Ibrahimovic. So thanks for listening to the GSMC Soccer Podcast. As always, I am your host, Jesse Tapia. And we'll be back next Tuesday, so stay tuned for that, and I will talk to you guys later.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Soccer Podcast. part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. From movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.